I wouldn't be so harsh in saying that we stole their food and that we have no culture. Our culture is older than theirs. And more than half of our population is not from Europe. It's from Asia. But that's the legend, they say. We came from Moscow. And my family, for instance, my grandfather and grandmother, they came here in 1912. And my mother was born here. So, and I always asked her about hummus. She's not too keen about this food. But my father, who came from Poland, when he first tasted it, he liked it. So it has nothing to do with national or anti-Arab feelings. No, it's a kind of food. But I do admit that in Jerusalem and the rest of Israel, where Arabs prepare hummus, it is usually better than when Jews prepare it, especially here in Jerusalem. It has to do with the history. When the Crusaders came here, that's the first evidence we have about hummus. Their third generation didn't like the food they brought from Europe. It was too heavy. And they started trying this tahina and hummus and liked it a lot. But when you'll see Meir Shalev, you'll see that hummus was popular even in biblical times. We have it in the book of Ruth. When workers were being served in the field, they were given this food in the morning. The real evidence we have is from the Middle Ages and onwards. But we know about the Palestine here that Palestinian peasants coming to the market towns like Acre, Nazareth, Jerusalem, Bethlehem, Hebron, and other towns. These were 2 days specifically in the week, I think Monday and Thursday. And when they came with their merchandise to sell, they would come to eat hummus instead of meat because it was much cheaper. And so the Palestinian culture is mainly to eat at home. And hummus was mainly prepared at home by the wife, by the mother. But they opened special joints for these farmers who came to town to eat this hummus. So we're talking about hundreds of years, at least from the beginning of the Turkish regime here in the 16th century. And so it's hundreds of years. And there are some families with tradition of many, many years, from father to son, of preparing hummus. There are such places in the old city of Jerusalem. And you can't take me and compare me to them. I am only a third generation here, all right? This movement of the hand with the hummus is, for them it's a regular thing, and mixing it with tahina. And it's a real tradition, it's a matter of culture. Like all their other foods, but this, as I told you, was mainly made for people who came from out of town and wanted to have their protein, and so they had the hummus. And so the tradition is the word. It's much. What tradition do we have? We started with the hummus here. I think it's at the end of the 50s, but it was during the 60s. So we're talking about 50 years, compared to hundreds of years with the Palestinians. And especially we know the hummus came from, it's the Fertile Crescent. It's Syria and Lebanon and the north of Palestine, the Galilee. But it's Beirut and Damascus mainly. The Israelis, as I told you, adopted it as if it's their national food. Where Israelis feed it very, very strong is when they are abroad and they eat different food. What they really are hungry for is for a good hummus. And the first thing many of them do when they return here is to run from the airport to the first hummus joint. That's how you feel that they think that it's their national food. They like it more than other foods. We have Jewish food, right? We have gefilte fish and others that I personally miss, especially when I'm abroad. Because when I'm in London, let's say my son lives in London, when I want a good hummus, there are millions of restaurants there, of Syrians, Lebanese, Palestinians, and also Israeli. But a good Jewish food you cannot find everywhere. And so this became simple. I'm dying for a good hummus. You'll meet many Israelis abroad saying. And so wherever Israelis are more than 500-600, one of them will open a hummus joint. I just read on Friday that Israelis came to a small strip of land in Central America, in an island. There are 600 Israelis there. 3 opened restaurants of hummus and falafel. Falafel, by the way, is the same thing. Israelis feel very keen about it and as if it's their own food.
Yeah. Yeah.
And where you feel it is where Israeli embassies abroad are making receptions and they prepare hummus, falafel, and trina.
Yeah.
And I admit it's not originally Israeli.
Yeah.
But who knows about the gefilte fish? If it's originally Jewish. I never knew, because the first time I came to Poland and Czechoslovakia and I tried their local food, I thought it's Jewish. No, they say no, it's our food. So in this field, in the field of gastronomy, it's very mixed.
Yeah.
This thing of adopting hummus started before 67. I write here in the book that my first acquaintance with hummus was when I was 10 years old, maybe, or even less. Right after the 48 war, I was 7 maybe, or 6. My father took me to an Abu Ghosh restaurant. It was the only one then. It's called Caravan today. And I saw this dish. I never knew what it was. At the beginning I tried it and I didn't like it. But after another 2 spoons, I liked it a lot. So Israelis were mainly revealed to this food after 48. As if at the beginning of the 20th century, many of them didn't know what olive is, because where they came from, Poland and Russia, there was no olives. I remember my father, who came from Poland, told me that the first time he tried an olive, he broke one tooth because he didn't know that there's a seed inside. So this slow process, relating to your question about Tom Seger, this slow process that took place here in Israel of adopting this food was much before 1967. I said at the end of the 50s, the beginning of the 60s. But it for sure made it much speedier, because Israelis now went to see Nablus, which is the capital of hummus of the West Bank. There are hundreds of hummus places there. And they liked it a lot. And hummus is especially good because the tahina, which is a very important ingredient of hummus, is made there. And it's the best tahina we have.